For several years now, we hear secretaries of defense will go to Brussels and they'll scold NATO and say, you guys have got to do more to pay more for your own defense. America is not going to do it forever. In fact, we're pulling down and pulling out. But we never hear the Europeans step up to the plate in the way that the Americans want them to. So from the way I see it, it's one of two things. Either the United States has to accept some lesser form of security for Europe that Europe wants for itself, or the U.S. is just going to have to keep doing it for them.
Well, first, one thing I want to put out for the audience, just to make clear sort of how we're thinking about this moving forward, because you're absolutely right in terms of how you're seeing things in terms of the debate, how the debate's been. We have a NATO summit next year, next fall, that the UK will host, which will be a very significant summit for the NATO alliance. It will be really the first summit since like 20 years, since NATO has been in nearly continuous operations, since the mid-90s through 2014. It will be a transition moment for Afghanistan, as you just heard from Ambassador Dobbins. And it will also be an important inflection point for the alliance about what NATO wants to do moving forward and what role the alliance should play in global security. We, the United States, and I think every alliance member, believes that NATO should still be at the core of a global security architecture. But part of NATO maintaining that edge is ensuring that it's got the capabilities to succeed. And that's a challenge because all of us, not just the Europeans, but obviously here we in the United States, as you heard from the Secretary and Bob Hale earlier today, are facing significant fiscal pressures. And so that's why it's even more incumbent on us as allies to ensure that we're working together, pooling, sharing capabilities, finding ways that we're leveraging the best efforts of one another to ensure that we're secure moving forward. So it is true that every Secretary of Defense, I've worked for two now, Secretary Panetta and Secretary Hagel, and we have been, every few months we go to Brussels for a NATO Defense Ministerial, and one of the main points of discussion around that table, and it's not just the United States lecturing people, it's a mutually agreed upon challenge, which is how are we going to ensure that we maintain the capabilities we need, we all agree we need as allies moving forward. And that's a huge challenge in this current budget environment, which makes it more incumbent on the policy people, like myself, to come up with the new ideas. It's tough, absolutely. Because even if we in the defense world come up with these good ideas, they've got to be pushed through political processes. In all 28 of the NATO democracies, it's very difficult with parliaments and their own fiscal pressures and budget woes.